Have you ever thought a small action could completely change your life? Sometimes, the tiniest decisions lead to the biggest adventures. This story will take you on such a journey, a story full of surprises, emotions, and useful English language you can learn naturally. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the daily stories we share. Now, let's begin. Ethan had a favorite coffee shop downtown. Every morning, like clockwork, he arrived there around mid-morning, greeted the barista by name, and sat in the same exact seat, a cozy spot right beside the big window that looked out onto the city street. That seat was more than just a chair to Ethan. It was his little sanctuary, a place where he felt calm and creative. He loved watching people pass by, the changing weather outside, and the city's sounds blending with the quiet music inside. One chilly autumn morning, Ethan arrived at the coffee shop with his usual calm mindset, expecting to settle in and work on his writing for hours. But today was different. The place was busier than usual. Most tables were full. And when Ethan looked toward his usual seat by the window, he saw a young woman already sitting there, wrapped in a big scarf, sipping coffee and reading a thick book. For a moment, Ethan felt a pinch of disappointment. This was his spot. He had reserved it in his mind every day for months, but today he hesitated. Maybe it was time to be a little more flexible. As he stood there considering what to do, the door opened again and a man stepped in, looking around nervously. He seemed out of place, tired eyes, a backpack worn from travel, and a kind but worried expression. Ethan smiled to himself and made a quick decision. Instead of insisting on his usual seat, he offered it. He walked over, caught the man's eye, and nodded toward the seat by the window. The man's face lit up with relief and gratitude. Without a word, he sat down and began to unpack his things. Ethan found a table near the back of the shop. He ordered his usual coffee and opened his laptop, but his mind kept drifting back to the man by the window. Who was he? Why did he look so tired? What brought him here? Curiosity grew stronger, but Ethan respected the quiet atmosphere of the cafe. Instead of asking directly, he let his imagination wander as he worked. Hours passed. The day went on. The city outside grew darker as the sun began to set. Inside the coffee shop, lights glowed softly, and the hum of quiet conversations filled the air. Ethan took a break from his work and glanced again at the man by the window. The man had taken out a small notebook and was writing intensely, pausing often to look out the window. Ethan wondered if the man was an artist or a writer, someone who, like him, found inspiration in the little moments of everyday life. Suddenly, the man closed the notebook, stood up, and walked over to Ethan's table. For a moment, their eyes met. The man smiled kindly and handed Ethan the notebook without saying a word. Then he left the coffee shop as quietly as he had come. Ethan opened the notebook carefully. Inside were beautiful sketches of the city, poems about loneliness and hope, and short stories filled with emotion and depth. It felt like a gift, a glimpse into someone else's soul. From that day forward, Ethan's life began to change. That simple act of giving up his seat had started a chain of events that would take him far beyond the coffee shop walls. Ethan sat back in his chair, staring at the notebook in his hands. The pages were filled with raw emotion and vivid descriptions of places he had never seen but now felt like he knew. It was strange. He had never met this man before, yet somehow, through these words and drawings, a connection had formed. The next day, Ethan returned to the coffee shop, hoping to see the man again. But the seat by the window was empty, and there was no sign of the traveler. Still, the notebook stayed with Ethan, inspiring him in ways he could not explain. Days turned into weeks. Ethan found himself thinking less about his usual routine and more about the stories in the notebook. He began to explore the city differently, noticing details he had overlooked before, the way light bounced off glass windows, the laughter of children in the park, the rhythm of footsteps on the pavement. One afternoon, while sitting in a small park near the river, Ethan met a woman named Maya. She was a photographer who loved to capture moments of everyday life. They talked about art, dreams, and the magic hidden in simple things. Maya encouraged Ethan to share his own stories. Inspired by her, Ethan began writing again, using the notebook sketches and poems as a starting point. His words flowed freely, filled with new energy and meaning. Through Maya, Ethan also met others, musicians, painters, and writers, a whole community of creative people who welcomed him with open arms. The coffee shop was no longer just a place to drink coffee. It was a gateway to a world he never imagined. As months passed, Ethan realized how much had changed. He was no longer the quiet man who sat by the window watching life go by. He was part of something bigger, a community, a movement, a story still unfolding. Looking back, Ethan smiled. It all began with a simple decision, to give up his seat for a stranger. That small act of kindness had opened the door to new friendships, new inspirations, and a new life. Ethan kept the notebook safe, a reminder that sometimes the smallest changes can lead to the greatest adventures. By reading this story, you naturally learned new vocabulary, grammar structures, and expressions, all wrapped in a meaningful and exciting narrative. This is the power of learning English through stories. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever made a small decision that changed your life? Let us know below. Remember, new stories come every day. Don't miss the next adventure.